Alec Jones Hall is the co-founder and director of the UK's largest provider of regional business expos. The company that he co-founded at just 26. He now runs the UK's largest business events, which has attracted over, I don't know if that figure is, that's a lot less, more than that now. It's over what, 50, 60,000?
Yeah.
Visitors?
About 56,000, yeah.
Yeah, having gained the reputation as the UK's best provider of regional expos, Alec, with some of his works with some of the country's biggest names. We all have known of these names like Vodafone and Lloyds Bank and BIFA and Barclays Bank and all the others. The Great British Expo is the UK's leading provider of regional SME business exhibitions across the UK. So if you're an SME, he's got something to share with you today. Through the success of previous years, he has gained a reputation and respect in the industry and works with the biggest brands and organizations across the UK over the last 7 years. They have had numerous small businesses attend the expos, and also they've donated hundreds of thousands towards regional charities as well. His passion is to see your business grow and to help your business develop. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Alec Jones Hall.
Thank you for having me. What an incredible event to be at. I often, when I look at your lineup, Camilita, and I look at these events you do, I think, my goodness me, if I had this when I started out my business, you know, it's such an incredible platform and tool that you're giving people, and free, you know, free.
Listen, it's not going to be free. Can I just tell everybody that's listening, for everybody that's listening, are you guys hearing me? This is the last free summit we're going to do. How many of you are glad that you're here today? So, come on, type it in the chat and tell me you're glad you are here today. This is the last free summit that we are ever going to do. Okay, the last free. Moving forward, the only people would be allowed on our summits are people who are part of the club. So listen, if you know someone who should be here right now, I need you to email them, message them, whatever you need to do. Tell them to join, because today is the last free summit ever. Everything we do moving forward will all be in the club. And you know what? Alec is part of our club. He's one of our council members, so you'll hear him a lot more. So message people right now. Alec, building multiple national brands, securing corporate clients. Look, what you guys have done is shy of a miracle. I mean, just honestly, tell us the journey and where you are now with all of this.
Well, I've got 6 steps I want to share with people today, so I'll share through those. I mean, where we are today, I mean, I think you encapsulated it very well. You know, we work with some of the biggest brands in the UK. You know, our journey, Camille, I mean, you know, when you look at my story, I came from a broken home, broken family. My parents, as you know, were drug addicts. I had to leave home at a very young age. I didn't have any formal education. So when I look at what we've achieved now, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And you know, I heard your story earlier, you know, when you kicked off today's summit, saying if you had to hustle through the public dump, you know, to be a success, people haven't got an excuse. So, you know, and I think when I look at that, you know, my mantra for us was we had to be so good that people couldn't ignore us. You know, when I first and I believe that's what I teach people. Be so good that people can't ignore you. Now, when I first went knocking on Vodafone's door, and I went to Barclays and I went to some of the big membership organizations, they didn't want to work with us. They didn't believe in us. Some of them said, you know, we weren't going to be successful. They didn't believe in what we were doing. So we had to be so good that they couldn't ignore us. And then 3 years later, I shared it when I spoke previously, we got a call from one of the CEOs. They couldn't ignore us. We've become so big in their regions in the Thames Valley, and that they called us into their office and they gave us a huge sponsorship, and they've renewed that sponsorship every year.
But see, but this is the thing, and for those that are listening, the question came just now, and I know you can help some of that. The question came just now. It's as if the success isn't happening yet, and they're wondering when is the success going to come.
Well, for us, I mean, it took us 5 years before I really felt successful. 5 years, it's a long slog. And I think, you've really got to understand when you're building a brand, who are you and what do you stand for?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Why am I building this brand? What am I trying to reflect the brand to be? What are my dreams, aspirations, personality, wishes? What's unique about the brand? What am I going to make unique about this brand? And you've got to dare to be different, and you've got to dare to succeed, but you've also got to dare to fail. Now, for me, failure was never an option. So the fear of failure drove me to succeed. And I think people are so afraid to fail that they never dare to fail. And, so for me, the fear of failure drove me to be successful.
I'm going to write that one down, dare to fail. I'm going to write that down because everybody talk about success.
But some people never start because they're so afraid of failing. Well, you've got, failure you may fail. Look at the hugely successful entrepreneurs that we know. Most of them failed multiple times before they were successful. So failure, you've got to dare to fail. We didn't fail. We made it a success. Failure wasn't an option, but you had to be prepared to fail.
Wow, dare to fail. I love it. Wayne, it's true, dare to fail. That book, I'm saying that book, I'm going to write that book, let me tell you. Dare to fail is really powerful because it's what stops most people from succeeding. And you said failure was never an option when you were launching this amazing brand across the UK and having all these big companies now wanting to support you or wanting to work with you.
Yeah. I mean, for me, my story. I was running a very big marketing agency in Birmingham. I was working for somebody else. I decided to leave that company. It wasn't aligned to my values, principles, and who I was really. So I left it, worked for myself. And then, I just bought a huge family house. We had to because of a family situation. So in month one, no seed capital, Camilita. I didn't have a seed capital. Month one, I had to start bringing in revenue and profit to the business. It wasn't an option. We didn't have a 6-month plan, a 12-month plan. Month one, we had to start to turn a profit because I had this mortgage to pay. I didn't have any savings or anything. We had to make it a success.
My God. And this is the problem with a lot of people. They want success straight away. They want to see success now. They're not wanting to go through the mill or to do the work in order to have success. For people that are listening and thinking, I am at my 5-year point. I haven't seen anything yet. What are you going to tell them? What can they do?
They've got to accelerate what they're doing. And the first thing I would say is know who you are, know what your brand is, know what you're trying to achieve. Now, for me, the aspiration was to be the UK's biggest provider. We started off with one trade show at Windsor Racecourse, very small, and we scaled it up. It was a 5-year plan. So we did our research and we wanted to know, how are we going to disrupt the industry? Well, the only way that we could know how to disrupt the industry was by knowing our audience.
Yep.
And also looking at what our competition were doing right and what they were doing wrong. And the only way that you can be a disruptor is actually fully understanding who your competition is and what needs to be disrupted in the industry. So when we were doing trade shows 10 years ago, we massively disrupted the small regional business shows. We took the concept of the big London show and we brought it into regions and cities and towns. Nobody was doing it. We brought incredibly disruptive keynote speakers. One of our speakers, corporates wouldn't come because they said they were too disruptive, but when you look at the market now, corporates want disruptive speakers. So we were ahead of our time. We were disruptive, and so you've got to be disruptive. But the other thing I'd really encourage your audience to, if they get nothing else in today, the movement and the movement of the market. You've got to understand movement of the market. And if you actually look today,
what do you mean by that?
Look at how the market's moving. Look at how the mindset of entrepreneurs are moving. Look at how the mindset of buyers are moving. And then you've got to adapt your company according to that market and movement of the economy. Now, for me, you've got to understand the millennial mindset. I'm a millennial. If you actually think that the millennials today have become the largest generation in the workforce, 35%, by 2016, and they are going to represent 75% of the global workforce by 2025. So you've got to understand how a millennial binds and what's important to the millennial mindset, because the CEOs of 15 years ago are not the CEOs of today. Yeah. And, you know, the CEOs that you're seeing today are the Ben Francises, are of the millennial mindset. Now, when I say a millennial mindset, Camilita, I'm going to come on to it. What's important to millennial? We see the Me Too movement. We see the Black Lives movement. We see gender equality. We see sustainability. All these things, if you're developing a brand today, I would encourage people, think about how you can get that messaging across to those consumers. Now, I'll give you an example. We did our awards. We did our awards recently, you know, at the Thames Valley and Southwest. And a lot of the entrepreneurs winning were millennials, top entrepreneurs of 100 firms. But, you know, some big brands were sponsored, like Barclays and other brands. And we sent out celebration boxes, and they were putting in plastic pens and they were putting in plastic stuff. And, you know, some of these millennials went onto social media and started saying, I can't believe these brands are putting single-use plastic. You see what I'm saying? You know, it's the mindset we have to get round about how we're communicating to the buyers. They're the buyers of the future, and our brand and our core and our organizations need to reflect the things that are important to them. Today, a millennial will make a buying decision based upon some of these aspects.
Absolutely, absolutely. And obviously technology, which plays a huge part with them compared to someone else who's not so techie minded, somebody who's not focused on AI, somebody who just, I mean, they did a research recently that I think it was 60 to 75% of millennials that are at work would prefer to take a pay cut and stay at home than go back to the office. And I mean, if they're going to make up majority of the workforce, then we kind of want to listen to them.
Yeah, and also, you know, I think it's understanding your customer, make it valuing your customer. Customer service is king. You know, Walt Disney said, didn't he? People will spend money when and where they will feel good. So if you make people feel good and you make your customers feel good, they will spend more money with you. But for me, it's really understanding research. If you look at modern day research, millennials, if they have an organization that's giving back corporate responsibility and they have a foundation or they have a give back, they're more inclined to spend money with that organization than they are with a big corporate.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask, okay, let's talk about that for a minute. Guys, if you got a question for Alec, please post your questions in. I really want him to answer your questions today. Please post your questions in now. Polly says, I've been at your events. That's how I found this event. And I must say that as an SME, you really know your audience and always have interesting and informative guests that provide insight and knowledge of issues that affect us daily.
Thank you, Polly. That's great. And, you know, and again, 10 years in the process, you know, so, you know, we've become masters of our trade. But, you know, Camilita, the other thing that I really learned at a very young age, and I think you've learned this, I had to learn to make myself sellable and make myself marketable.
Correct.
And I think the thing that people often forget is people aren't really buying you know, when I first had the business, people weren't buying the trade stands or weren't buying the business. They were buying me, or they were buying Alecs, or they were buying Julie. So how could I make myself sellable? How can I make myself more self-aware? And sometimes, you know, we have to think about our own self-awareness. You know, some people aren't always going to like us, and how can we adapt our behavior, and how can we adapt ourselves to sometimes win big corporate contracts?
And that's the thing. So Kate is coming down to a point that I want to ask about marketing yourself correctly. Now you teach clients, because I will see if I'm running a marketing agency and now running this business, you teach clients about marketing themselves or their businesses correctly. And a lot of people feel when you pay X, you should get Y. We know that marketing doesn't work like that. And a lot of people feel as if marketing is wasted money, even though they know they need to do it. What sort of marketing did you teach, and how do people get results from it?
So for me, we do brand discovery. So, you know, first we did loads of different packages, you know, because some of the clients, some of the members of the new club, you know, have benefit from this. So we'll do brand discovery session. We will do a marketing strategy session. We'll do brand development. We really try to understand what is your brand? What is your messaging? What's your target market? What are you trying to achieve? What's your objections? So we really try to understand the DNA of somebody's brand. And that's what we try to work with with them in. Sometimes we get so lost in not defining our voice. And I think that's one of the key things I would encourage all of the listeners today: define your voice. How do you speak to your customers? What do you say to your customers?
All right, so let me ask you something then. How do we do that? How do we define our voice? How do we speak to our customers? Tell us if we don't know.
I think the way that you define your voice is knowing and understanding who you are at the very beginning, understanding what your objective is, why are you doing this, what are you trying to build, what are you trying to achieve? You know, because for me, when I say define your voice, your brand foundation, Camilita, and I know you've got Sharon speaking later on, assets are sexy, but your brand foundation should match your brand assets. So you can have all these brand assets, but if they don't match the foundation of what the actual brand is, there's not a concurrent synergy there. So you've really got to understand that for everything you do, the branding and the messaging is clear and concise and authentic.
And when we don't do that, what is the result?
Well, it's loss of income, no bookings. You know, if your brand is confused and people don't really understand what you do, and it's mixed messaging, or you've really poorly invested in yourself, you're not going to get the sales inquiries. You're not going to get the big corporate clients. I mean, you know, some of the corporate clients we work with, the due diligence they do, and you as an organization, before they will give you and trust you, you know, but sometimes you have to go through a whole, you know, process of it being put onto their frame network. So really, you've got to have a consistent and clear messaging.
Okay, stay right there. Guys, you have a question. Alec is going to be with us for another 15 minutes. So please ask your question now. Alec, what you just said there is gold. Clear, consistent message.
Yeah.
Consistent. You're consistent. Some people in business, this thing is their goal. They hear something else, they jump. Everything that they see, they got the shiny penny syndrome. They're running around like a magical pixie horse. Nobody know what the next person is doing. Why is true? Why is it so powerful that people stay true, focused, and just succinct to their brand message and what the brand stands for, and build and sell that?
I'll give you an example. We do the Manchester Business Show. We did it for 3 years. And the first 2 years, it was a loss leader. We allowed it to be a loss leader because we were building a brand. And it got to the 3rd year. And we were approached by Vodafone. And when they came to us, and again, it was millennials. I was going into the boardroom full of millennials. So that's what people need to understand. When you're going now to pitch at that level, it's probably millennials, the millennial mindset you're going to pitch. My God. And so they were all full of millennials. And I went in there and I asked them, how did you hear about the event? You know, why are you only engaging with us now? And they said, we've been watching you for the last 2 years. And
see, this is it. This is it, Alec. All right, let me ask this question. Donna says, hi, I'm excited to be here. Good, great to have you, Donna, as always. Daryl said, absolutely, cost not crash, impact over income. Thank you, Daryl. This is the thing, Alec, right? For a lot of people, they quit just before they have the success, or they jump and go and do something else because it looks shiny. Talk to us.
Well, I think the problem is, coming when I saw your post, the lady that stopped you in the car and said, is it really you? And you know, and that's happened to us, and it's happened to big brands. You know, people are looking whether you've got mileage in what you're trying to do. You know, have you got mileage? Have you got experience? Are you credible? You know, are you in it for the long run? You know, that's what if people are going to give you their hard-earned cash, or corporates are going to invest in you, they want to understand that there's length in what you're going to do. You're not going to be a flash in the pan. You're in for the long game, and I think that's what you need to understand. So when Vodafone said to me, we've been watching you for 2 years, but we were actually trying to see if you were committed to this actual show, if you were committed to actually this project, before we started to give you, before we aligned our brand to your organization. So I think that's really important. You know, you never know. And I always say this to people now when I work with them, you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's watching you.
And that's it. And a lot of people sort of, they want it now. They don't want to build it correctly and to, you know, go in it for the long haul. And you talked about having that, is quality over quantity. Is your target market? Are you willing to serve this group of people? And you're not willing to serve that group of people. Being really clear on who that person is and who you're willing to serve and how you're willing to serve them as well. With your marketing training, and coaching and mentoring and all of that. Tell the audience today how you help businesses to really truly hone in and how they can get in touch with you. Because I know we talked about doing the SME today, people getting involved in that. And I think it's for a steal of something like 49 quid or something, just not that expensive. Tell us, how do you help entrepreneurs?
Okay, so two things today, special offer. We only ever do this for Camilita's audience because we know you're serious business people. If you're on this call today, you're serious about your business, you're wanting to invest and you're wanting to grow. So our SME today, we've got a publication in the UK. It's got 186,000 subscribers. We recently had Johnny Wilkinson interviewed. So really good high profile interviewees. Camilita's been interviewed, and we're offering a year's listing for £40.
Wait, does it? How many of you, let me ask a question. Wait, hold on. How many of you would like to get in front of 186,000 businesses with your brand message, your product, or your service? Somebody type it in and tell me yes. Otherwise, we're not going to give you. How many of you would like to get in front of, and this is in the UK, don't matter where you are in the world, if your business, people can serve, you can serve people anywhere in the world. How many of you would like to get your business, brand, product, service in front of 180,000 people? You've got to comment in the chat. And then I'm going to tell you how you can have access to it. Drum roll, comment in the chat right now, and we will tell you how you can access it, because one person could pay you your year's salary if you get the right information in front of the right people. And I know this for a fact. It's happened to me. Okay, Lorraine says
shaking hands. Yes.
We want a drum roll. This is the last free event. Come on, guys, drum roll. I need to see some drums.
It's normally £150, so you're getting an incredible offer.
So you listen, it's normally £150, but today, how much are you doing it for, Alec?
40.
£40. That's less than 400 TT if you're in Trinidad. In the US, it's probably like $50 or something. How many of you would like to get that kind of exposure for £40, $50, or 400, 500 TT, something like that? You got to comment. If you want it, say yes. And I'm yes from Canada. Jillian says yes from Canada. Who else wants to get it? Say yes now. Donna says, yeah, Donna's in London. Donna, seriously, you really need to work with Alec. I've been trying to tell Alec for a while. Donna, you need to work with Alec today. I know her, so I'm telling her she needs to do that. Okay, Alec, do you want to go ahead and post the link in there for everybody so that they can join? That's the link right there.
That's the link, and as soon as you fill that link in and complete the form, one of our team will be in contact with you in the next 24 hours to get your details, to get you listed. And again, we've got national journalists, so you might even get featured in one of our publications. They might write a story about you as well.
Wow. Now, who would like to get their story in front of a national audience? Your business story, as well as your own personal story. You never know, remember, who is watching, and they will keep watching, and eventually they will turn up. So your job is to take action. Alison says that I would love that. Yes, so then click on the link for 40 quid, pounds, $50, 400 TT. You get your business in front of probably about 42 euros or something. You'll get your business in front of so many people across the UK. It's a no-brainer. Now, I want to ask about that, Alec, before we have to close off with you. Why is brand exposure today so much more important than it was before the pandemic? Tell us.
I think it's so important today because people buy brands, people buy people. So it's always been the way. And I think, you've got to be your brand. And if you look at, most organizations today, Camilita, they're actually buying into brands, especially as I say, the millennial mindset, people buy into the brand messaging. And so we have to be authentic to the brand. People will always buy brand over product. And, think about sometimes when we go into the supermarket, think about how often we will always buy more branded product than not branded product. So we have to, we're naturally inclined as people to buy branded products that we trust, like, or that we aspire to. Right. So that's why it's so important to have to develop a brand.
And so for people that are looking to develop a brand, that are in a position whereby they say, well, I don't really have a lot of money to develop this brand, what are some of the things people can actually do to build that brand without a lot of money? And the ones that have money to invest, where should they put their hard-earned dollars, pounds, euros?
I think the key thing you have to do is invest in your brand. So the first thing I would say to anybody, regardless of how much money you've got, invest in your website. Become a member of Camilita's new club. There's a great guy on there, Cassie, that actually does great websites. Would certainly recommend him. And then start to build brand assets to reflect your image. Website, definitely. Social media, you can start posting and building a following on social media. It's dirt cheap. I think you can do a Facebook ad for like £10 or $10. So there's something you can do. If you've got no money, you can do it small. But if you have got money, invest in it. Make sure. I mean, it shocked me, and you will know, Camilita, was speaking the other day, how people have shoddy websites.
I know.
Website is your shop front. People will look at your website, and if you haven't invested in a website, it's the first impression that you give of yourself and your organization when people are looking to invest and work with you.
My God. And one last question I want to ask, and it's coming back to leads. Okay. The biggest reason why there's two reasons. Why businesses fail, we know, is cash flow. Yeah. But the reason they don't have cash flow is because they don't have enough leads. That's just how it is. You have leads, you can sell, and you could grow. You're giving people the ability to have 186,000, to be in front of 186,000 leads, potential leads for them, for the sake of £40, $50. And I want you to tell me who has actually taken that up while we're speaking. Because guys, listen, Alec is watching and I'm watching you guys.
I'm watching, and I'll just tell you a story, Cameron. It's true. And one of our exhibitors, she came and exhibited, and she collected, I think, 160 business cards from an event that we did. And she spent 12 months contacting every single one of those people on the business cards that she had. She did over £150,000 worth of revenue. She persistently followed up the leads. And even though they said no, she went back and she kept engaging with them. So you've really got to get on top of the leads and utilize and build those relationships. So Jillian, fantastic. I've got your form in. That's great.
Fantastic. Who else? Come on, guys. For the sake of $50, £40, 55 euros, 45 euros, 400 TT. I'm seeing people are chiming in across the world. It's a no-brainer to get in front of all of those leads. The biggest thing I hate, Alec, in my own business is not having enough leads.
Yeah,
I hate it. I hate it because I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, well, what do? I need leads because that's where you get paid. So I'm constantly thinking of ways to get new leads. You're giving people the ability to get in front of 186,000 people, and some of them haven't done anything yet.
I mean, your brand is core because it's what customers say about you when you're not in the room. So you've got to develop your brand. It's how people talk about you when you're not here. You just heard this lady, Polly, talk about our brand. We've developed that reputation, that brand. So it's how people communicate you when you're not around. That's why it's so important to develop your brand. And, and if you want to win corporate clients are on SME Today. We've got huge sponsors and we've got huge investors on there.
Bipin says, I am in.
Yeah, I've got Bipin. Yeah, great. Fantastic.
Good. Who else, guys? Come on. You need to do this today. Don't mess around. I've learned in life and in business, there are opportunities that come and you've got to grab and take those opportunities with both hands. If I had the opportunity when I started my business to get in front of 186,000 people for 40 quid, I'd be spending a few 40 quids. Just to get some leads.
If you think about that, think of how quick we could have accelerated, both of us, how quick we could have accelerated our success, Camilita. I mean, I know you've talked about going around the world and eating cornflakes of Andrew and all this stuff. Think about you could have not had to do that with this.
Alec, why do you think I don't do it anymore? Why? Daryl says,
Rose has done it. Great.
Daryl has done it. Rose has done it. Fantastic. Who else? As a part Trini, Jillian sells. As a part Trini, this sells like doubles. Alec, you must.
Daryl said, "This shirt and tie and keeping to the brands. This is how you'll see me at a trade show."
Yes. Oh, so I can't wait for you to come to Trinidad. So the Jillian, I'm taking Alec to Trinidad. You will taste our doubles. We have a plan.
I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to meet Mama and Camilita.
I know my mother. Alec is coming to meet my mother. Polly says, I will do it as soon as I've checked with the boss. Right. Check with the boss, Polly, because I mean, you came through, Alex, so come on, you need to get cracking. Rose is done. Jillian is done. Daryl also is done. Fantastic. That's what we're talking about. Guys, I'm all about action. All about action. I'm all about taking action. Now, let me ask everybody a question. How many of you would like to hear Alec share a lot more of this on a weekly or a monthly basis? Somebody type in the chat and tell me yes. You want to hear Alec share more of this, and I will be sending you the link as well. Alec, don't worry, tomorrow is payday. No need to be broke today. Allison, so send Alec a message and tell him you're going to sort it. Okay, do it now. Vipin says yes. All right, how many of you would like to hear more from Alec in the next coming weeks and months? And for the rest of this year and next year, or whenever he decides to not do it. How many of you, Aldana says she's done. Good.
Great.
Yeah. How many of you like to hear more from Alec? Right. So quite a few people are saying yes, they want to learn more, they want to hear more. Okay, guys. Then I'm going to ask everybody now to join the club. Let me tell you what, Alec, do you want to tell them what you're going to be doing in the club and how powerful it will be for them?
Absolutely. I'm just stretching over. This is my black book of contacts, and seriously, 10 years. I mean, before this, I've been in business for nearly 18 years now. I was in business from the age of 16. But this book, we have got national journalists, we've got people in Parliament, we've got dames and lords, you name it, they're in here. And what the thing about Camilita's club is, you're having access to all of these coaches and all the people that she's lined up. So being a member of this club, not only are you having access to my contacts, Camilita's contacts, we're here really to try and propel you to success. We want to enable you to be a champion and not make the mistakes that we made, when we started in business. So we're here to really help you understand your brand, help you to market yourselves. The members of the club Camilita are going to have access to all of our events. They're going to have access to SME Today. So we're going to be giving them huge exposure, through being a member of this incredible club.
Yeah. So guys, for those of you that are in my inner circle, you won't be getting this over there. You'll be getting this in the club. So you got to join the club as well. And just ask me. If for those of you that are in the inner circle, we'll probably do something to support all of you to be in the club anyway. So just let us know and we can help you with that. Alec, I want to ask another quick question as we're talking about the club and the benefits of people being in the club and getting into SME Today and growing a business. We talk a lot about money, okay? Yeah. And we talk a lot about business and we talk about business systems. But what is your why in doing what you do? Why are you wanting to help entrepreneurs so much through the expo, through the business events? Why? What is the passion?
For me, the passion, Camilita, was not, we can all make money. And even with this pandemic, we lost an awful lot of money, £500,000 we haven't taken with the pandemic, but I can always earn more money, but the thing I can't do is earn more days on my life or earn more or get more time. So the thing when we set up our business, we always wanted to be business and community. So we always wanted to reach down and pull up and to make a difference to other people. I am a Christian, as you know, and we really wanted to give back. So for me, the more money that I can make, the more successful that we can give, we can then actually enable others to be successful. So as you said, we've given hundreds of thousands of pounds away to charities. We've now got our own charity in the Midlands that actually employs over 15 members of staff. They're all ex-abuse victims. They've either sexual abuse, drug abuse, domestic abuse, and they've all been rehabilitated. And we also help over 600 families on a regular basis through food parcels, through clothing, through care. So that's what's enabled us to do. So for me, the vision of creating this national organization it wasn't so much about trying to eat my ego or developing a national brand. It was, we had to be big to give us enough revenue to enable us to launch our charitable foundation. And now some of the corporates, Camilita, that actually sponsored us initially at Great British Expos, they now sponsor my charity. They now annually give money to my charity.
And I think people need to understand why you're doing what you're doing. I mean, the fact that you guys are hugely successful and you've done so much and you help so many people, that there is a passion and a heart behind what you're doing. It's not just about money. Yeah. It's not just about people getting into SME today or something.
The thing is, I know we're running out of time, but the thing is, I always say to people, part of our success was coming here. We thought big, but we acted local. So, and I think that's why you develop a brand. You support local causes and you get local ambassadors. It says for every £1 spent in a local community, you get a £6 ROI back. And so for us, we actively sort out local charities in our region. So whether it be Sue Ryder Hospice or Manchester Children's Hospital, we actively looked at how we could give back. And so we made a principle when we did our shows that 10% of our shows were going to be donated to charity. We weren't even going to charge for the stand space that we were going to do. And then as we got more successful, we were then able to give at least 10 or 20 or 30% of our profit.
Wow. Yeah. And that's good. How many of you enjoyed Alex's session today? Come on, I want everybody to comment and tell us if you enjoyed Alex's session.